Hey guys, it's Aman
and Christina
from Our Rich Journey. This video is all about our cost of living here in Lisbon, Portugal. You guys have been asking us a lot of details about what it costs to live here, what we pay to live here in early retirement. And on this video, we are gonna go into all those details. But this is just not gonna be one video. In fact, this is gonna be a series so that you guys can get an idea of what it costs to live here in Lisbon and an idea of what we spend in early retirement. So every single month, we are gonna go over our expenses in this series.
So our channel is all about making money, investing money, and saving money, all for financial independence. And now that we've reached financial independence and we retired early, we're also adding an element to our channel where we're talking about our early retirement in Lisbon, Portugal. And that involves our expenses. So we want to go through that because that is really a big part of reaching financial independence. You have to understand your expenses in early retirement in order to understand your financial independence goal and the amount of money that you need in order to retire early. So when you decide that you want to pursue FIRE, you have to start with a plan. And the plan begins by determining how much money you need in assets in order to retire early. And you determine this by looking at your budget and creating an expected expense budget for when you retire. So you look at the numbers and you determine how much your expenses are going to be on a yearly basis in retirement. And once you get that number, you multiply that by 25. That is your financial independence number, and that's the number that you need to reach in order to retire early.
Now, all of this probably sounds really complicated if you just clicked on this video to learn about the cost of living in Lisbon. But we did a whole video that talked about how we live off of our investments and how it will support us in early retirement. You should really go back and watch that video if this concept of financial independence and early retirement is new to you. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about our cost of living here in Lisbon, Portugal. Now, we need to caveat this because our cost of living is our cost of living. You hear averages all the time about the average cost to live here, the average cost to live there. Well, the reason why we're showing you our costs is so that you get an idea of the expenses that we have.
So one of the things that we're gonna do at the end of this video, after we go through all of our expenses, we are gonna hit upon some very significant numbers that could be reduced if you were looking to live in Lisbon, Portugal, but you didn't wanna spend the amount of money that we're spending. So another thing you should keep in mind is that, like we've been saying, this video is for Lisbon, Portugal. Lisbon is the capital of Portugal. It's the biggest city in Portugal, and it is the most expensive city in Portugal. So if you decide to live outside of Lisbon, your expenses will be a lot less.
But relative to other capital cities or major cities around the world, Lisbon is still far more affordable. I mean, we have lived in San Francisco, we've lived in San Diego, we've lived near Tokyo. We didn't live right in Tokyo, but we lived near Tokyo, and it was far more expensive to live in these other cities. Okay, so we've given you guys enough caveats and categories and backup information. Let's now talk about our expenses. And what we've done is we've broken this up into household expenses, food expenses, transportation, education, entertainment and travel, and health and personal care.
So let's start off with the household category and begin with rent. A couple of videos ago, we did a minimalist house tour and we showed you our apartment here. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, and it's a little over 1,300 square feet, and we pay $1,600 a month for this apartment. Now, our place is $1,600 a month, but we live in the center of the city here. We are living in an area that's actually considered very affluent for Lisbon, Portugal. And the average rent in this area, because we looked at several different apartments before we landed this one, is about 20.
Several? We looked at like 20 apartments.
So the average rent in this area is about $2,400. And we were actually able to negotiate the price of this place down to $1,600 a month.
So now let's go through our other household costs. Now we have a cell phone plan that includes 4 lines, so everyone in the family has a cell phone. But this plan also includes cable and internet. And for that entire plan, we pay $90 a month.
So we also have gas and electric, which we paid $60 in September for, and we had our water bill for September, which was $23. So let's move on to the food category. Now for food, we have it separated into two mini categories. We have grocery eating and eating out. So for groceries, we spent $300 in the month of September. So to give you a sense of actual cost, if you go to a grocery store here in Lisbon, pasta can cost 50 cents a pack, milk is 75 cents a liter, cereal costs $1.10 a box, you can get wine for only $1.10 a bottle, nectarines are less than 90 cents a pound, bananas cost less than 50 cents a pound, and a dozen eggs cost less than $2.
So groceries are very affordable in Lisbon. We spent $300 this month, but I think we could have actually spent less. So we'll see how other months go. Now let's talk about eating out. There are so many restaurants in our neighborhood that we eat out a lot more than we used to eat out, but we're also kind of getting a taste for what's in our neighborhood and a taste for Portuguese food, and we just like being out around people, so we ate out a lot this month. And this month we spent $220 eating out.
So let's move on to transportation. Now, like we said, we live in the middle of the city here. So we have quick and easy access to the metro, to the train, and to the buses. We do not need to own a car here. And in fact, we do not own a car here. So we primarily use public transportation. So for public transportation, we spent $90 in September. Now the $90 consists of two monthly passes. One was for Aman and one was for me, and we each spent $45 on that pass. And that pass allows us to travel on train, on bus, and on metro, unlimited as many times as we want throughout the entire month. And kids that are 12 years and younger get these passes for free. So Sanoa and Malia got to ride on the metro, on the train, and on the bus, unlimited for free in the month of September. So like we said, we primarily use public transportation, but there have been limited times where we've also had to use an Uber. But Ubers are super cheap here. So to give you an idea, for the month of September, we only spent $20 in Ubers, and we actually used Ubers quite a bit. So our next category is education and kids costs. This is our second highest category, and it's primarily because our kids are in private school. So our kids are in a private Portuguese school, and when we determined that we were gonna live here in Lisbon, we were actually gonna put them in a private international English-speaking school, which is actually even more expensive. But when we moved here, we found out that all of those schools were booked. There was no space available. So we ended up putting them in a private school, but in a Portuguese private school, which is significantly cheaper.
Now we say private school, and we're not like the private school kind of people, where kids go to private school. We actually wanted to put them in public school, but the public schools are crowded here in Lisbon, and we wanted to help our girls transition a little more easier. So what we did is we put them in a smaller environment. You see, the private school, the classes are very small, and they are very flexible with our children. They allow them to do some of their work in English until they get up to speed in Portuguese. And so it helps with the transition in being able to put them into this private school.
So the cost of tuition for the private Portuguese school is $400 per child. So for the month of September, we paid $800 in tuition fees.
So September was also a very expensive month in this category because we had to buy the girls school supplies. And at this school, they are required to use iPads for most of their courses. So we had to buy the girls 2 new iPads in addition to other art supplies. So that came out to an additional $750.
Now, another expense that we have in this category is our expense on our Portuguese tutor. We are each using a tutor in order to learn the language because that is a big goal for us, is for all 4 of us to become fluent in Portuguese. So for the month of September, we spent $250 on a tutor.
And finally in this category is gifts. And in September, we spent $50 on gifts. So our next category is entertainment and travel. And for this month, we really didn't spend that much money. I was pretty surprised. So for miscellaneous family activities, we only spent $30 for the month. And I think it's because there are so many free things to do in Lisbon. We went to the beach a whole lot. We went to the park a whole lot. The only money that we actually spent was we rented bikes one day and we rented roller skates another day. So that was really all the expense that we spent on miscellaneous family activities. Now, in this same category, we have Spotify and Netflix. So there were also those costs.
That's right. So Spotify, we spent $15 in September, and Netflix, we spent $13. So our last category is health and personal care. And I like this category because we get so many questions about this, especially about our health insurance. So our health insurance for our family of 4, each month we pay $125. So for the month of September, we only paid $125 for private health insurance here in Lisbon.
So let's go over the other expenses very quickly.
All right, so Aman got 2 haircuts in September, totaling $12. So that's $6 a haircut. My hair care products are a little more expensive, so I paid $25 in September for hair care products. We didn't spend any money in September on clothes for Aman or for myself, which we have a category for, so that was $0. But we did buy kids' clothes. We spent $75 on kids' clothes in September. We also pay for 2 gym memberships. Aman has a gym membership at a gym right next to our house, and that's $30. And I also have a separate gym membership at another facility that has a swimming pool, and that's $30 a month. And for the kids, Sanoa plays basketball for a team and Mel is on a swim team, and we paid $35 in the month of September for their participation on those teams. So those are all of our expenses for the month of September. Now, if you add them all together, that equals to $4,643 for the month of September for a family of 4 living in Lisbon, Portugal. Now, some of you may think that's way too high. Some of you may think that's really a great deal. But like we said at the beginning of this video, there are ways to cut your costs if you're interested in living in Lisbon, Portugal, but you don't want to spend the $4,600 a month that we spend. So we pay for private school, like we mentioned, we pay for a tutor, and we live in the center of the city where the costs of rent are the most expensive here in Lisbon. So those are all areas that you can cut. You can live outside of the city. You don't have to pay for a private school, and you don't have to pay for a tutor if you don't want a tutor. That will reduce your expenses significantly.
So that is our cost of living for September living in Lisbon, Portugal. If you like this series, stay tuned for next month when we go over our costs again. I think next month we will have different costs because the girls are going on a field trip to Spain. I think they're going to Spain. See, that's what's so exciting about living here, is that your kids go on a field trip to Spain. I mean, we only went like down the street when I was a kid. So next month, we will also be doing this same update and talking about our other expenses. But if you guys have questions about some of our costs, or if you have questions about other expenses here in Lisbon, Portugal, please leave a question for us. And as usual, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and
Join the journey.